So you see very poor people, it's very unfortunate, very poor people have like very rich people's diseases. You would never give your kid a can of beer, right?
Yeah.
Because it's an addictive substance. But you would give your kid an ice lolly to make them shut up. That is
मेरे गांव में तो 8-10 साल का बच्चा 2-3 स्टिंगे पी रहा होता है.
I would recommend for a meal anywhere between 2 teaspoons to 4 teaspoons of olive oil.
अगर किसी ने हेल्थ के बारे में कभी कुछ पाकिस्तान में कभी आपने पढ़ा है तो आपको 42 डे चैलेंज के बारे में पक्का पता होगा, क्योंकि दीज पीपल रेवोल्यूशनाइज्ड द वे पीपल would take care of themselves, because ये हेल्थ वाला जो ट्रेंड था ना, ये पाकिस्तान में नहीं आता. हम निहारी छोले खाने वाले लोग हमने कभी अटेंशन नहीं दी, बट recently you see this trend of people taking care of the health, eating well, and Nusrat has a big part to play in that, and that's why we thought we should have her over so we could talk about nutrition, health, and especially in Ramzan, because Ramzan में बहुत सारे लोग कहते हैं कि हम रोज़े रखेंगे, फिट रहेंगे, फिर वो पूरे दिन कुछ नहीं खाते और फिर रात को पकौड़े और सारे फ्राइड चीज़ें, और फिर दे कंप्लेन कि हम क्यों वेट गेन कर लिया ईद तक. तो ये थैंक यू फॉर कमिंग.
Thank you for having me. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I would first get into the thing we were talking about right before rolling, is कि इन पाकिस्तान एक परसेप्शन है कि अगर आप अमीर नहीं हैं तो आप फिट नहीं हो सकते. आप अगर इतने बहुत सारे पैसे नहीं हैं तो आप ट्रेनर, जिम, डाइट, ये सब बहुत अमीर लोगों की चीज़ें हैं. क्या इज़ इट ट्रू और दिस इज़ अ मिथ?
Okay, so maybe initially it may have been true to a certain extent.
Right.
And it is in your initial part of the journey, because you'll have to replace a lot of basic ingredients from the house. So it may seem like it's a bit of an effort. Like, for example, agar aap apna processed khana nahi use kar rahe ho and aap whole grain use kar rahe ho, so maybe you have to replace your atta, you have to replace your rice, you have to replace your pasta and everything. Once that's done and you get into a roll, it's much cheaper, because you're not eating out, you're not eating anything fancy, you're having basic ingredients, you're having controlled portions, there's no junk food, there's no unnecessary nothing.
So sorry, I'm slowing it down. If somebody wants to get healthy, what are the 2-3 things उनको अपने घर से निकाल देनी चाहिए?
Definitely white sugar would be the first thing, and then alongside that, everything that's processed.
ठीक है.
Initially we would only talk about processed carbohydrates like white rice nahi khaye, ya white roti, ya naan, you know. Now we're talking about processed meats, for example, as well. We don't always consider processed meats in processed
ये जो
food.
frozen food आता है, ये
Frozen food, all sorts of processed meat. So, I mean, of course, if we go very deep into it, there's commercial farming and things like that. Maybe we want to move organic, depends on how deep you want to get into it. And then that is a little more expensive. Of course.
Yeah.
And then we're looking at all sorts of processed fats as well that you want to remove. So what kind of oil are you using in your food is the most important.
What is the oil one should be using?
You want to use, I mean, the easiest thing for you to use would be a good olive oil. We are making olive oil in Pakistan as well now. The only dodge about that is that it will sound like it's olive oil, but it may be a mixture of a few oils in which some of it is olive oil.
Oh, really?
So you really
But वो लिखा olive oil.
Because I work with so many nutrition brands, right? And they say, बस आप ये olive oil हमने ये आप video बना. And I'm like, fine, you know, I get into a discussion and then I'll get the product and I'll read what is going on in this oil. And it is the furthest thing from olive oil. But it's a great way to like make sales, right, for people, because I mean the company knows that people are now looking into olive oil, so you put, you know, like,
what about Desi Ghee?
Palm olive.
A lot of people say Desi Ghee is not...
Desi Ghee is amazing.
Yeah.
Depends on, of course, again, where you're sourcing your Desi Ghee from. There's a lot of commercial brands that are doing ghee as well. You got to be careful. So if you're looking at Desi Ghee, you want it to be like a proper authentic from a village or someone you know or something like that. I would be very happy if like 40% of your day's fat calories are coming from Desi Ghee. It's really good for you. It may sound a bit complicated. You said like 40% of your fat. Yeah. So, I mean, if you're having 3 meals a day, 1 meal a day can have Desi Ghee in it and good to go. Preferably the morning meal, because it's really, really good for your gut biome, for your digestion, and of course for your brain as well. So if you get this in the morning, it's really good for you. So maybe like a tablespoon, I do recommend for people with like digestive problems and things like that, a tablespoon of Desi Ghee, empty stomach in the morning. That also coats your stomach and things like that. But then again, because it has a high burning point, it's really good to use with your food and your cooking and things like that also.
ठीक है.
It won't denature very fast.
So आपने अपना ऑयल चेंज कर लिया, आपने जो कुकिंग वेजिटेबल ऑयल को रिप्लेस कर लिया ऑलिव ऑयल से, या reliable source
or some other kind of like maybe almond oil. Now if you use a mixture of oils, it's even better, because now you have saturated fat and unsaturated versions and things like that. So maybe a mixture.
और फिर वो कॉस्ट भी कम पड़ेगा उसमें.
Yeah, and then you're using, so I mean I would recommend for a meal anywhere between 2 teaspoons to 4 teaspoons of olive oil. That's not a lot of oil.
Yeah.
You know, if I'm speaking to a family, I'll ask them how many family members do you have, and then they'll say we have like 4 or 5 people. So I'm like, okay, 2 tablespoons of olive oil in your whole meal, and the rest use water. It's not very expensive. It ends up, because other than that, people are using half a cup of oil. Like, you know, I mean, they're just grabbing that needle and like, you know.
फिर वो पूरी एक साल में layering होती है.
But that oil is cheaper, so they might not, you know, be getting a real hit on their budget. But if they're replacing with olive oil, do keep in mind that you're also reducing the quantity so much that it kind of will find its equilibrium. So that's where the transition is a bit costly. So, you know, when you're changing your lifestyle and you're like, ye phenko or ye lo, then in that process you spend some extra money. But once you settle in, then you're just building on that. So now you're never buying crap, you know. You're like, every time you're buying rice, it's brown. You're using half a cup at a meal or 1 cup at a meal. That's like absolutely nothing.
और चीनी जब आपने अपने घर से निकाल दी, तो फिर आप पागल हो रहे होंगे, क्योंकि चीनी से आपको इतना प्यार है. तो substitute है.
Addiction.
It's the biggest I heard.
It is the first and prime. This is the thing our children are hooked on from. You know, there's this really famous doctor I follow, and he says that you would never give your kid a can of beer, right?
Yeah.
Because it's an addictive substance. But you would give your kid an ice lolly to make them shut up. You know, and I mean, I see parents who will give their kids chips and cookies and juices. Juices are like super popular. You know, anything to settle a kid down, anything that, you know, will deal with hunger, because kids may be difficult eaters and things like that. And that is where you...
गाँव में तो 8-10 साल का बच्चा 2-3 स्टिंगे पी रहा होता है.
Man, so the fallacy is that what we're taught in the world is that we have macros, 3 essential macronutrients: protein, fat, and carb.
ठीक है.
But your liver produces enough glucose on 0 grams of carb consumption to operate your mind. After that, your brain runs on ketones, and it runs way better on ketones because it's a more expensive form of energy that lasts longer than it does on carbohydrates. Carbohydrates, however, are easier and cheaper to produce and feed more people. So the world tells you that you need carbohydrates. It's like part of your food pyramid, right? But we know that you don't need carbohydrates, let alone sugar. Sugar is to like dur ki baat. That sugar is like a very processed carbohydrate. Why would you need that? Your body doesn't need it.
So basically, sugar आप zero कर लें.
I mean, fruit is fine. A couple of servings a day. Keeping in mind that also our modern fruit is like very high in sugar compared to what fruit is naturally supposed to be like.
Okay.
So fruit back in the day didn't taste as delicious as it does today. You know, it was quite basic compared to, and maybe some honey would be fine. You know, some raw honey has great compounds in it for your health. So some honey here and there. Some fruit maybe to get your like micronutrients. 1 or 2 pieces a day should be fine. And
fiber भी शायद होता है fruit में तो
fruit has fiber. But you know, your other like grain carbohydrates have fiber as well. But to someone like me, they're not necessary. I personally don't consume any grains as such. I will recommend them on a meal plan because people love their carbohydrates and they love having their bread and their rice and their potatoes and things like that. But I am conscious of how much I'm giving them, how much is necessary. Unless they really want a carb-based diet. Because for some people, if you give them a carb-based diet, the likelihood of them sticking to it is larger than them leaving the diet. And in that case, I'd be like, have your carbs, just make sure that they're clean carbs and things like that. So definitely sugar should be removed from the house, out of the house. Replaced with honey. There's other sorts of things, like there's certain kinds of stevia. Stevia is a natural sugar.
Just वो जो हाँ सही
made
है.
from the root of a vegetable. So it doesn't give you any spikes in blood sugar levels. It metabolizes differently to like
How does it
fruit
taste?
sugar.
I've never tasted.
It is quite bitter in its natural form, so you would need just about like half a drop or a drop. But
ठीक है.
then the commercial versions of stevia are mixed with other things to make it a little more palatable. So again, however, how
Defeats the
deep
purpose.
do you want to go? You
Yeah.
know, do you want to replace sugar and add stevia? Now you've added stevia, now you're comfortable. Now you're like, maybe I want a purer form of stevia. I've made this transition ab thoda sa, you know, zyada intense. Then you go, you do that. Then there's people, you know, as you leave sugar, you crave it less. Because there's a lot of bacteria in your body that then is enhanced through the sugar consumption, then starts craving the sugar, giving you signals. I mean, so remove the sugar, your cravings for sugar will reduce, and then you'll find like an apple will feel really good. You know, a khajoor will feel really good.
मैंने 1 महीना शुगर नहीं खाई थी. मेरी एनर्जी लेवल बहुत अच्छी हो गई थी. जो शाम होता है और हम ये नहीं होते बस ड्रेन, वो नहीं हो रहा था मुझे. आई वाज हैड मोर एनर्जी. और उसके बाद मैंने महीने के बाद पता नहीं क्यों खुद को टॉर्चर करने के लिए मैंने एक कोई बहुत ही शरबत कोई ऐसी कोई इंटेंस शुगर वाली चीज़ और मेरा पेट ख़राब हो गया, मेरी तबीयत ख़राब. ऐसा लग रहा था कि मैंने कुछ अजीब चीज़ खा ली है एंड द होल बॉडी.
So this is very common when we put someone on a clean eating diet. They'll go and have a big cheat meal because they still mentally want that burger, and then they'll get the shits. You know, I mean,
but then they go, then you can
So initially when I go into fitness, I would ensure that my clients have a cheat meal. Just so, I mean, there was science telling us that it will aid in your metabolism. You may have heard this, like have a cheat meal, it'll speed up your metabolism, and then come back to your clean eating.
Is that all that?
Yeah, it doesn't really like end up doing much. It may jerk. Maybe if you've been on a deficit for a long time and then you have an increase in calories, it will of course help you to speed up your metabolism does slow down with the deficit because your body has to survive. So that's an evolutionary mechanism. Because you'll see like hunter-gatherers and stuff, right, that are really like fit and they're living a very organic lifestyle. Their metabolisms are like 1600 calories, 1800 calories a day, which is just like us regular people because they're not getting food all the time. So their body just slows down the metabolism so that they can survive. So this is a myth that, you know, it will really speed up your metabolism or, you know, so your body just adjusts. It's what happens. So I would recommend a cheat meal because I did believe that, yes, you know, this may speed up your metabolism, but also it'll help you deal with cravings and things. But now I tell people that don't have the cheat meal because not is it only about the calories, it's also the chemicals that are going into your body with the cheat meal. So you think you're having a burger, but you're also having a bunch of processed cheese and a bunch of like other dodgy sauces.
And you're also kind of relapsing ना. अगर एक चीज़ से मैं रिलेट कर रहा हूँ तो मैं वो अगर मैं आपको बोलूँगा ठीक है तुम सिर्फ संडे को चर्च पीना और बाकी तुम सोबर तो वो पूरा वीक सही होगा और फिर संडे को पिएगा वापस लग जाएगा तो क्योंकि वो फिर मंडे को आपको फिर से होगा
100%.
Okay, so this is food basically, basic food things, but अब exercise पे आते हैं.
I mean, so with food, so let's say now sugar we've removed and we've removed the processed carbohydrates and we've got good fats and we've got a good source of protein.
ठीक है.
There is animal sources of protein that are great. I mean, the less commercial they are, the better it is. And then there's plant-based sources of protein and, you know, you can combine those.
पर जो animal वाला वो ज़्यादा better.
I would say, of course. I mean, the protein is different in terms of bioavailability and stuff in your body. And then, of course, we have the mechanisms for animal protein digestion and absorption. So that is a sign. But then there is plant-based proteins and then there's people who are plant-based for so many reasons that you can't deny there. Like, you know, I mean, whether that's for animal rights or whether they just seem to metabolize it better or whatever. You have to also simultaneously focus a lot on your sleep. So when I'm speaking to someone about diet, I'm also speaking to them about their sleep cycles. Insomnia is a really big problem. People will sleep, but they don't have restful sleep. That's an issue. They will wake up. So when I send you a medical information form, it asks you what time do you sleep, what time do you wake up? But you wake up in the middle of your sleep, and when you wake up, what do you do? You know, because I'm interested to know, like, what is going on with the depth of your sleep? How much recovery are you actually experiencing? Are you just like in bed or are you recovering? Is it a deep sleep? Is it restorative sleep? You know?
So does the diet have anything to do with the sleep?
100%. You don't want to eat up to 2 hours before bed because then your body is... So you want to... Because you're fasting as you're sleeping, you want to get the most out of that fasting and sleeping period. So you're not, once you eat, you're not fasting immediately, right? Your body's still 2-3 hours kind of your blood sugar is at a different level, your insulin is coming and going, you're kind of in like a digestion absorption state, so you're not fasting.
Okay.
So 2-3 ghante baad, then you're kind of getting in fasted state. You want to be asleep at that time because your body is recovering. So it's using your all of that. It's using your sleep and your fasting period simultaneously, and you're getting lots of benefits.
Okay.
So you want your sleep to be very, very good. And lots of people ignore sleep.
And so, it's 7 hours?
7, 8. I mean, some people will feel like they're fine on 6 hours, but I mean, it's really not good enough. So 7 to 8, some people need 9 hours. They cannot function. But those are fewer people, and they tell, and you can see like this person needs more rest. And so 7 to 9 hours would be prime. If you cannot manage, like, there's people with young children, and then, there's people with weird work hours, get a nap. Like in the day, try to make up for some of it. At least, like, it's better than nothing. Maybe 1 hour, like 1.5 hours, whatever. But
और खाने से 2 घंटे पहले, हमारे सोने से 2 घंटे पहले खाना नहीं.
Yeah, because that will disturb your sleep slightly.
And does that मुझे किसी ने बोला कि ये खा के जो सो जाते हैं उनके पेट भी बहुत निकलते हैं. Is that myth or is it
because now you're not really metabolizing these calories and you're going into a rest state. Yeah, so you're going into a rest state. Also, food and rising blood sugar levels trigger insulin, and then that has a different feedback when you're sleeping in terms of growth hormone and other hormones. So you don't want a lot of insulin jumping around and flowing around you and things like that. So
long term ये health issues हो सकते हैं इससे.
You want, but as we as a world community got into intermittent fasting, you would find that people were skipping breakfast, having a late lunch.
Intermediate fasting. Intermediate. Sorry, I said this won't be.
So people would eat later in the day, and then they would stop eating in the night and then go to sleep, because people like to eat dinner with their family and stuff.
And you recommend?
Now science is telling us it's better to eat earlier in the day. So when you wake up, wait an hour or so, and then have your bigger meals, and then lesser meals or no meals towards the
end.
So where I still personally am eating in the evening, because it just works with my schedule. I tend to eat 1 meal a day usually. So I'm fasting through the day, and then I'm eating in the night when I'm relaxed and things, and then I'll pass out and I'll wake up.
So you don't have breakfast?
No.
Okay.
I haven't had breakfast for a few years now. So when I was younger, I remember just being usually like through the earlier part of the day in a fasted kind of state. My father would just like get a yolk through my mouth in the morning first thing, get me to school. I didn't really eat much in school. Came back, had a light sort of like lunchish, but a bigger meal at dinner with the family and things like that. As I got into fitness more formulistically, and I was working with nutrition, it was like, you need breakfast, 6 meals a day, you need like this, boom. So I was also recommending 6 meals a day. It was working really well for people in that transitory
small
phase,
portions,
right? Small portions and things. It does help if you tend to have cravings. There's people who have this hand-to-mouth sort of addiction also, and whether that's with a cigarette or a Diet Coke or a Pepsi or a meal or whatever. So to kind of like get that into balance also, we'd give people 6 meals a day, so they never have an opportunity to crave anything. Like 2-3 hours later, they're kind of like feeling a bit queasy, they'll have a little meal or whatever. But now we recognize that may not be the best. It may work for lots of people. Some people like eating small meals a day. That's just a habitual thing for them. But for most people, you want to have a fasting period between your meals. So
basically, you're saying science now says, have a good breakfast, lunch, medium, dinner, बिल्कुल.
Wait a few hours. Wake up.
Okay, wake up.
Okay, fast थोड़ा बहुत.
कितना?
At least I would say 1 to 2 hours.
But मेरा ये इशू है कि मैं ये कर लेता हूँ 2 घंटा पहले सोने से मैं नहीं खाता. But then when I wake up, I'm really hungry.
So maybe wait an hour.
Okay.
An hour would be fine.
Okay, yeah.
So wait an hour. Don't even have any caffeine or anything.
I don't
pani.
drink
Yeah.
coffee.
Okay. So pani for like 1 hour, and then have your breakfast. Your body seems to metabolize protein and things best towards the afternoon.
Okay.
So you want to have your protein and everything, maybe a little bit in the morning, a little bit in the afternoon, get the chunk of your meals in, and then in the night either don't eat or have a very light snack or like a salad or something.
कौन सी चीज़ें जो रात को आप खा सकते हैं?
Again, based on how hardcore you're going.
Okay.
If you want to be not so hardcore and just have a clean diet, just have a clean meal, a decent sized meal. A little more hardcore, maybe a low carb meal. A little more hardcore, just no meal.
But you should not have fruits at night?
Definitely.
Not
avoid.
Yeah. Okay.
Because again, that's going to raise your blood sugar level.
Because I'm taking towards Ramzan, because this is what you wake up. It's like 4 a.m.
Yeah.
and you want to eat, and then obviously हर किसी का ऐसा काम नहीं है जो सुबह 7 बजे पहुंचना है, तो कुछ लोग सो जाते हैं right after Sehri. So how do we maneuver this diet thing during Ramzan?
I mean, I would imagine that you should carry on with your day as it is in Ramzan. That's part and parcel of Ramadan.
Yeah.
You got to just hang about as though you're not going through any other like additional, thing, and you're just going through.
But you are waking up at an odd hour.
I mean, so you're waking up, but then it's around Fajr, right? So you're meant to probably just be operational after that in life, right? So you're not meant to be sleeping till like 2 p.m.
Yeah.
So keeping that in mind, I would imagine you have a decent Sehri because now you can't eat all day, right?
Yeah.
So you need your nourishment.
Yeah.
So you have your Sehri, you pray, and then you are working or whatever. Now the people who are sleeping, their whole like sleep cycle is completely, they stay up all night, then they'll have their Sehri, they'll hang about with their friends, maybe they're working at night, then they'll sleep through the day, make Sehri Roza very, very simple, and then they'll wake up and then they'll do a namaz here and there, and then they'll,
do that.
I don't know if that's the best way to do it. I mean, I'm not like a preacher of any.
Yeah, let's not get into the religion aspect of it.
But having said that, I mean, I would imagine that the ideology is that you do because you are meant to wake up for Fajr regardless,
yes,
right?
you are.
Muslim who is fasting or not fasting. So after Fajr, I would guess that you're supposed to get to work. You're not really supposed to sleep, right?
So आप recommend करती हैं कि आप जल्दी सोएं ताकि जब आप सहरी के लिए
You
उठें
act normal. Like you just act normal. You wake up a little earlier. You have your Sehri. You get about your day.
okay.
Normal.
ज़्यादा तुम जो नखरे कर रहे हो ना
Because that's the challenge. You're not even you're not even supposed to let it show in your mood and your personality.
यहाँ पे तो लोग गुस्से मार रहे होते हैं.
Yeah, I mean, like you have to maintain a complete decorum and pretend like everything is normal, but you're also fasting and going through this internal.
Actually, try to be a better person even because try to get more deep.
So get to work earlier.
Yeah.
So
you recommend sleep early, wake up.
Yeah, if you're really looking for a suggestion, as you know, I would suggest that you wake up, do your Sehri namaz, and then just start working. Don't go to sleep and do this to your body. Because you just ate such a big meal, like you don't want to sleep on that ever, right? Like you just said, 2 hours before sleep, don't eat. So then that defeats the logic. If you're going to have Sehri and then go to sleep, then again you're back in that same position. So wake up, do your Sehri, do your thing.
और Sehri में लोग बोलते हैं, मेरी अम्मी बोलती हैं देसी घी के पराठे 2 खा लो और ये दूध का गिलास हाँ तो पराठे but you know a lot of people think कि हम अगर heavy खाएंगे ना तो हमें भूख नहीं लगेगी.
So the Desi Ghee is expensive calories. It will last you a long time. So it will last you through the day. Now you put this ghee and it's like 9 calories per gram, and it's good.
Okay.
The roti paratha part might not be the best idea.
Right.
Maybe a few khajurs would be really good because they're again like gonna be nice and dense.
Okay.
A protein sauce would be really good. A couple of eggs or some Greek yogurt or some cottage cheese or something like that. Or maybe like a few kebabs or something.
ठीक है.
I mean, how long do you want your energy to last, right? And then because we are thinking that we're going to work and we're going to get by. Then at your iftari time, what I do suggest, because a lot of people are training, so some people are fine to train just before iftar and then do iftar.
अच्छा कुछ लोग जिम जाते हैं right before iftar.
Because then that kind of like streamlines it for them. They're done with their
workout. Is that a good thing?
Yeah, why not? Because
body-wise?
You're not trying to hit any real like PRs in Ramzan, right? Unless you are, in which case you probably have to focus a little bit more.
Sorry, what's a PR?
Like you're not trying to come over and above yourself.
Right.
Like there's no like personal like record you're trying to hit. You're probably trying to maintain.
कि हम अगर 100 kg उठाओ मैं रमजान में 150 हाँ.
Probably just wait till after Eid. So if you're just trying to maintain and be like healthy and stuff, then you can do your workout and then have your iftari and things.
And iftari में what is a good because your body has been hungry all day.
Yeah, so some people will just do iftari, not do dinner.
Yeah.
Those people will have a heavier sort of iftari. Some people will do a light iftari, maybe do like a tarawih session and then do like a dinner or something. So it depends on whatever floats your boat.
Okay.
Of course, don't do deep fried sorts of things. I mean, because I wouldn't recommend you to have a deep fried thing on a regular Monday. So I'm not going to say that,
When was the last time you had a pakora?
A very long time ago.
How?
Probably at my mother's house or something. It was probably like a healthier pakora. Because see, if you have a pakora, make it at home. Yeah. Because the oil that is rancid that is being used commercially. So not only is it like bad grade oil, but it's also reused and reused. And so if you're going to have a pakora, just make it at home, bake it
Yeah.
and do something with it. You can olive oil or something, or have one, but don't have it from outside, because
For sure.
a lot of people's like gut biome is damaged because of junk food consumption, right?
Yeah.
Especially with like these sorts of cheap junk foods like pakora, jalebi,
Bun
samosa,
kebab,
like these
ye
sorts of-
sare.
it's because of the kind of oil that's being used, and that oil is just reused, and there's no checks and balances.
Yeah.
And, you know, so you see very poor people, it's very unfortunate, very poor people have like very rich people's diseases, like diabetes. And you're like, how did this guy get a disease of abundance? You know, it's because he ate a little, but he ate trash.
Bad, huh?
You know, so that kind of stuff is very disturbing when you really think about it, you know, because then they cannot provide for their own healthcare expenses and things like that. So all the more reason, if you're going to have something a little bit like unhealthy, make it at home. At least it's clean in that sense. And it's not going to cause so much damage. So,
और हाँ सस्ता भी पड़ेगा, क्योंकि अगर आप बाहर जाके कोई पकोड़े जो भी लेंगे अब वो बहुत महंगे पड़ेंगे.
if you eat a bahar ka pakora and eat a ghar ka pakora, there's a world of a difference in terms of health, right? Because of the fats and the hygiene and things like that. So for iftari, it would have a gentle sort of meal. You know, don't do anything hardcore. Maybe some fruits would be really good. A source of protein would be really good.
ठीक है.
And then if you're having dinner, something similar. Or if you're not having dinner, well enough, because you're going to sleep soon, and then again you're up for iftari. So even 2 meals, sehri, you're up
And
for sehri, and
iftari or dinner.
iftari is good. Yeah. Your iftari could be your dinner, because it's about 7:30ish, right? So then you're eating till about 8:30, and then let's say you're sleeping at like 10:30, you got your 2 hours in,
And then फिर आपको 4 बजे वैसे भी उठना है, so सही है, 6-7
and then
hours.
hopefully you'll stay awake after
Yeah.
that. So.
अच्छा, let's get to the exercise part of it. If ठीक है, अब हमें पता चल गया कि रमज़ान में क्या क्या कैसे हमें अच्छा खाना है. वैसे भी how many days should one exercise minimum? कि कुछ लोग कहते हैं मैं बस 2-3 दिन कर लिया काफ़ी है. कुछ लोग फिर ये कि कहते हैं मैं 3 घंटे किया था तो इसलिए मैं सिर्फ 2 दिन या 3 दिन करता हूँ. What is the best?
It depends on your goal.
Okay.
It depends on your schedule. It depends on how passionate you are about it. And then, so having said all of that, if you're really trying to achieve a goal, you'll have to break it down into how much time you have on a daily basis.
Right.
If you don't have so much time on a daily basis, you might have a more prolonged session. A 1 hour session might turn into 1.5 hour session, but then you can do that 3 times a week, for example. If you want to do it on a daily basis, sometimes half an hour is enough. Sometimes 45 minutes will be okay.
पर हाफ एन आवर में तो वो आपकी हार्ट रेट हो जाती है, मतलब
What kind of training are you doing? So if you're doing steady state cardio, maybe half an hour is not enough. But if you're doing HIIT style training, 22 minutes might be enough. You know, if you're doing weight training, you can prolong that over 45 minute to 60, 75 minute session, or you can whip it out, do supersets, 20 minutes, you're done. Depends on the intensity of your workout, depends on your schedule, what your goal is, what your current fitness level is. I would happily recommend 5 times a day getting a good workout, 5 times a week getting a good workout in.
Okay.
2 days, maybe something a little lighter. For example, if you say you're training like Monday to Friday, or Monday to Saturday with like 1 rest day in the middle, then Sunday maybe you can go out to a park with your family, or go for a hike or a run, or some sort of activity that will keep you moving, or maybe like a yoga session or something, but isn't as hardcore as the rest of the week. So training, nutrition is very personalized. Of course, there are programs that we can put people into, but then as they progress in that program, you, with your training, and you can
keep evolving it.
Yeah.
I feel like एक चीज़ मैंने notice किया है कि I start going to the gym 1-2 साल पहले. After I realized I should get healthy a bit. I realized that you have to not look at it कि मैं इन दिनों में जिम जाता हूँ. It just has to be a health lifestyle where you are like, okay, ठीक है, आज every day I need some activity. That could be anything.
That's a very good way of looking at it.
How did you come up with the 42-day challenge, and why did you choose that specific type of workout?
Okay, so 42 days is essentially 6 weeks, close to 40 days, which is a great sort of like mark to hit if you're making or breaking a habit. So this is scientifically backed as well. 40 days is a good chunk of time. So 6 weeks may divide in, that's 42 days. the style of training and the duration of training is about, let's say, maybe 5 to 10 years before we started here, HIIT training became quite famous worldwide. We obviously trained ourselves. There was no like HIIT sort of trainers or anything like that, and there was no HIIT concept because of the way the style.
Can you briefly, sorry, interrupting, HIIT hai kya?
HIIT
For
is
people who don't know.
high intensity interval training.
Okay.
So we want to get the most amount of work done in the shortest duration of time because we're busy or whatever it is, but we want to get that work done. It is most effective because it's so intense within that spurt of time, because your body by default cannot be intense for long durations of time.
Yeah.
So it can be super intense for 20 seconds, but then you need a little bit of a break to get intense again. But then after like 10, 15, 20 minutes, it is just not as intense as it could have been. And then it turns into something close to like a steady statey thing.
ठीक है.
So you just need that chunk.
Right.
So because we were students ourselves, and we wanted to create a sort of situation where you don't really have to get dressed up, go to the gym, you know, if you do, and then work out there, come back, shower, do this whole thing. It's a good 2-3 hour process. If you can't do that, you'll have to figure out a way to work out at home, which means you require a bunch of equipment, and you can't afford that. So what are you going to do? What can you do with your body that you can do anywhere? Regardless of the circumstance and the situation.
तो इसमें कोई weights, कोई
You can do it without
equipment.
weights 100%. You just need your body weight. So your body will create enough resistance and enough of a challenge. If you want, a pair of dumbbells would be best, because that's also very affordable. And we have based our whole program on a pair of dumbbells. So let's say a woman would use about 4 kgs and then she can take it up from there. And a man, we would start between 4 to 8 kgs. So if you have this in the house and you have your own body weight and you have few training techniques, you don't need anything. And I would definitely want everyone to feel confident enough to get their training in regardless of these other variables. Like, you know, having to get dressed up and look a certain way and get in a vehicle and then go to a gym, which is essentially a room in a building with an air conditioner, and then like do this thing over there and take 4 selfies, and then, you know what I mean? That's the whole situation. So for someone like me who really wants to work out, I don't want to do any of this shit. I just want to work out. Like I want to, so when I wake up, I work out. I don't talk to people. I drink 2 glasses of water. I do my workout. It takes me 20 to 22 minutes. And then I shower, and then I'm like, what's up to the world? Because I don't want to be dependent on my car and my driver and gym kab khulega and ye kab hoga कि मैं अपनी जिंदगी जीऊं.
फिर जिम में कोई आदत है, अली भाई मेरे पास एक वीडियो का आइडिया है. And then you know, मैंने एयरपोर्ट इसलिए पहने थे ताकि तुम मुझसे बात नहीं करो.
So I realized quite quick into being at the gym and working there that I personally cannot train at the gym. Because I am a trainer, right? So I have to be like, you know, sociable. You know, if someone's got a question, I can't be like, you know, I'm in the middle of my own set, and the headphones thing is classic. I mean, you're mid deadlift, like jack up on the kg, you got headphones on, someone's like, what's up? You look tired.
And they say also, what is this? Because they're like, oh, मुझे सुन नहीं सकते.
So I wouldn't want, but then again, you do require the gym because the gym has very expensive equipment that you cannot afford at home.
Of course.
So if you're really looking to build resistance and you need a Smith machine or you need like a press or something, might as well join the gym. Some people join the gym because they need motivation. So they need a trainer, or they need 5 friends, or they need some hoo-ha-hee to get this thing done. I personally do not. I get irritated if someone's trying to motivate me. I'm a highly motivated person. And I'm also like a people-pleasing person. So if someone like wants me to do something, I'll all the more like, you know, and then I'm doing it for them and not for myself.
And then you're like, mera
exactly. So I personally have a big mirror and I just work out in front of the mirror. Music, no ventilation, just maybe like I don't really have the best window system in my current place, but prior I would have a window open, and then that allows me to focus. So it is the closest thing to moving meditation. And
so you don't need fancy big cost gym, this that.
No, certainly not.
So this happens online as well?
Yeah, so as I was telling you, I mean, for me, I would really like people to look at food and movement quite differently to the way we look at it. You know, because your body is essentially your primary vehicle for your soul in the world.
Bilkul.
And we know how to work our iPhone and our car and our air conditioner and everything, but we don't know what to eat. Like up till today, we're asking each other what to eat. Like, how should we work out, and then what should we do? But this is it. This is your vessel. Like this should be your first concern in life. Right? How is this thing working? Because how this is, if it's like creaking and it's making sounds and your knees hurting and things. What is going to be your performance level in the world? Are you going to be a good wife? Are you going to be a good mother? Are you going to be a good husband? Are you going to be smashing it at work? Or are you going to be complaining about my sciatic pain and my this and that? Right? And it's so
sad when you see like 30-year-olds complaining about, oh, mujhe ye dard hai,
I got a bit of a sciatic pain because I never sat so long in my life. So while I was creating my online program, while everyone's getting fit, I'm like sitting there on my butt, like making this thing, right? So I had a sciatic pain and I thought myself, if I can have a sciatic pain, then people who are sitting 9 to 5 and driving in that state also to work
for like 30 years, 40 years of their life
shouldn't be left, because most issues that I'm dealing with at the gym or in classes is a weak lower back, a weak glute, a painful knee, a painful shoulder. And it's because of this position, right? So we need to get out of this position, get a little more realistic. So I would really like for people to change, when you're looking at your child growing up, your first concern should be like, how fast is this kid running? Is this kid able to catch a ball? What's happening with my child? Not like, I need to get it through this test, put in this Montessori, then put him in the school, and then feed this culture, and then get them a job, and like, all of this is fallacy. You need to get them to recognize themselves and then take their position in the world. So if you don't know what to eat and you don't know how to move, then you have to rethink your life, because you are able to move so many other gadgets around you. And you know what's the best fuel, high octane for your car, but what is a fuel for your body?
Bilkul.
So
so you talk about the online.
So this is why the online thing is very dear to me, because it's a very cheap program. So it's like a 2,800 program and it covers you for 3 months. There's follow-along videos. I'm training with you. There's a personalized meal plan. I have 6 ebooks, which are like, there's like, let's say a balanced day plan. There's an intermittent fasting plan. There's a hormonal balance plan.
There's 6 ebooks that you've written?
That I've written.
Wow.
Alhamdulillah.
Wow.
So I have a hormonal balance plan. It's very, very key for women, because apparently 52, I don't know about the statistics in Pakistan and who is checking on these statistics, but apparently 52% of our women have PCOS. It's like a major problem, and I had PCOS as well. So I've got a plan to help you deal with your PCOS without any medication, just with nutrition and training and things like that, because there's so many girls on birth control and things like that at 16 and 17, and you're like, what is going on? That is one of the reasons I got so deep into nutrition, because at 17 when I got PCOS, I had a wonderful Dr. Setna, who everyone loves. And he gave me my first birth control, and he was like, look, kiddo, you need to clean your act up. Like, I'm giving you this, and this seems like it's going to get your period back and blah, 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 but you need to look at what you're doing with your life. And he was like, maybe didn't realize it at that time, but a great mentor to get me to understand, like, what am I putting into my body? How am I like moving my body? What is this pill? I'm far too young to be on birth control. I'm not even close to getting married. Like, what is happening? And that got me very inquisitive. So that was part of the journey. Now I have 6 ebooks. You would, for example, let's say you're a customer. You would get the program and you would have a selection of these ebooks. Let's say you want to get on a ketogenic meal plan. Right? So you'll say, give me the keto book. And then you'll get on a conversation with me. I'll send you a form. You'll give me your stats. I'll personalize your keto ebook to you. And then you have my personal number. Now we are talking and I'm answering questions and you're following the program. And inshallah, you are getting results every week.
And that's pretty affordable, 2,800 rupees for 3 months.
Super affordable.
3 months.
Yeah, I may say for myself.
No, it's true, because
how much is that a month? It's like 950 rupees a month.
Yeah.
Which is like,
अगर आप अपनी बॉडी में इतना खर्च नहीं कर सकते तो फिर फायदे नहीं.
And अगर आप नहीं खर्च कर सकते हैं, you tell us.
McDonald's is like 1,400.
No, we'll give you this plan. We've so many people that we'll just give the plan to, that will say, I'm a student, or I'm a single mother, I'm a this and that, and I don't have the 2,800 rupees, and we're like, that doesn't mean you're not getting the plan. So we'll give them the plan and we'll ensure that they get the results, and we're with them through the journey. I think this has had a great impact, because a lot of people through COVID had a lot of time, and they were cooking and they were, doing things, and so it got them to do the right kind of things. And then once you have a mother or a father within the family on a plan, then everyone kind of like gets with it. So even if we're selling, let's say, one program to a family member, then everyone is kind of doing it.
Because पूरा household फिर होता है, क्योंकि खाना तो एक ही बनेगा. अगर वो healthy बन रहा है तो पूरे घर वाले healthy खाना खा रहे हैं.
And so there's desi recipes. So I mean, we were I'm very proud of this. We would be the first people to break down macros and macro distributions in desi food. So when we came around and we ourselves were researching nutrition, it was all foreign. It was like how much asparagus and broccoli and this and that. You know, and over here, just to get like boneless chicken was a bit of a problem. You know, so like we'd go to the butcher and he'd give us a whole bunch of chicken, and then we wouldn't even realize that we're weighing bones along with chicken, and nutrition plans are like boneless. And things took us a minute, and we started creating these like healthy biryanis and keemas and rotis, and I mean,
is that one of the 6 books?
It's in all the books.
Oh,
so all the books have desi recipes. So there's no issue. Like,
क्योंकि ये बहुत होता है आप इंटरनेट पे जाएं आपको बोलते हैं ये हेल्दी है पर ये वो चीज़ मिल रही नहीं है आपको यहाँ पे.
And there's guidelines which tells you that say you hate our recipes, our absolute abomination is disgusting. You want to use your own house recipes. Spices are unlimited in your meal plan. Vegetables are unlimited. So let's say you want to make a chicken kadhai. You just take your quantity of chicken, which would be like very simply like this is your quantity, right? So if it's not exact, if you haven't spoken to me, the meal plan will tell you take a palm size. If you're male, take 2 palm size. If you're female, take 1 fist carb. If you're male, take 2 fists. This is your fat quantity. This top of your thumb, which looks about like 1.5 to 2 teaspoons to me. So you take all of this and you use your own recipe. You use Amma's recipe. You use like Wife's recipe. Make whatever you want. Make a bigger serving for your family, and you're done and dusted.
As long as in इसमें ये चीज़ है.
As long as fat
quantity
सही है and good quantity है. Protein is a very essential macronutrient. That's a good source and a good, you know. I'm like very against.
Are there some little things that I can cook at home for iftari that are healthy and
100%. Kebabs would be a great way to go.
Nice.
So if you go to your butcher and just get some keema, you can make some kebabs, and you can make any sort of kebabs. You can use a Western recipe.
और अगर तेरी अबे वो बना के freezer में रखें, that's fine.
2-3 kebabs would be it. Make cottage cheese at home, paneer. Every household knows how to make paneer. The only difference here would be when you boil your milk, leave it in the fridge overnight and remove the fat. So now you've got all the fat, the malai, which you can use in smaller quantities in other things. But remove it for the cottage cheese and then make your cottage cheese and you're good. So a few like, you know, cubes of that would be good. Greek yogurt is everyone knows how to make dahi at home. Everyone's mother knows how to. So you get your dahi ka culture, or you get a little bit of dahi and you put your yogurt, your milk, you make your yogurt and then you just double drain it and now it's Greek yogurt. So you know, like a malmal ka kapra, you put your yogurt into the malmal and you hang it in your fridge, and in about 4 hours it'll drain and it'll become thicker, and it's a Greek yogurt. So if you're going around spending 3-4 grand on a Greek yogurt, call me. I'll tell you. So now your Greek yogurt is handled, your cottage cheese is handled, your kebab type things, marinate maybe some chicken or something. You don't even need to get into that if you have the cottage cheese and the Greek yogurt and the kebab type thing, and your
chicken wings maybe.
If they're not fried,
air fryer कैसा होता है?
Air fryer is just a bit of a headache for me because it ends up taking the same amount of time, if not longer than anything else. But it's easy for people because they can just put that thing in the thing.
I like it because of that. I just put one kebab and just put it in.
I can't wait and stuff. I'm just like, give me a pan, put this thing. My brother, for example, loves the air fryer because he loves potatoes and things. So he can pretend he's having fries by like putting it in the thing and leaving it there 45 minutes. And then he'll have it, and he loves his air fryer. In fact, took mine also, now he has 2 air fryers. My mother called me the other day, beta, so where's the air fryer? I was like, listen. I was like, Amma, it takes as long as an oven, don't even bother. She's like, I was like, So it does end up taking as long as an oven. But it's more accessible than an oven. So, get some fruits, get some nuts.
Nice.
That would be really good. Any sorts of seeds would be a great addition to your diet. Vegetables, I'm big on vegetables. Making sure that you're having some raw and some cooked always. So raw salad and some cooked, steamed or whatever. Just, you know, if you're making like a chicken sort of falan or something, just put your vegetables in there. And that kind of. So people who find it hard to eat vegetables can just mix it up with their food. Stir fry would be really good. Some people who find it very, very hard to eat vegetables, we'll try to probably maybe get them to juice a few vegetables and just tonic, like have it like a tonic or something.
But when you juice something, मैंने realize किया कि उसकी वो most of its properties are gone. The fiber gets out.
The micros and the pani is taken, but the fiber gets left behind. But then you can get your fiber from like maybe a fruit or maybe like some grains or something. Because some people cannot have vegetables. So in that case, I'm like, just get what you can from the vegetable, juice it and have it.
Okay.
Yeah.
ठीक है. That's great. Anything specific that you want to talk about or tell our audience about?
I would say that Ramzan is a great time to get the most out of your sort of fitness and spiritual journey. Of course, you have to be quite focused on the way you're behaving, and then the way you're behaving has a lot to do with what you're eating and how you're performing and how you're moving, and all of that is part and parcel. So might as well take this opportunity. Don't let it go to waste. Like, literally don't be that person who is going back to sleep after Sehri and then waking up super late and, being like a burden to the rest of everyone else and acting as though they've done a great thing, because that does defeat the purpose. If you are going to, go ahead and do it right. Just like most things in life. Do continue with a bit of an intermittent fasting structure after Ramzan is over. Why not? There's like exceeding benefits to that way of living. So maybe you can use Ramzan to kind of inculcate you and bring you towards a cleaner sort of thing. I mean, you can look at it in both ways, right? There's some people who will ruin their diet in Ramzan by having the pakora and the jalebi and the late nights and, all of that stuff. But then there's some people who will really benefit from Ramzan and clean their act up and be much healthy. Like, you see some people will lose a lot of unnecessary weight and things like that in Ramzan, and some people put on weight. So because we're fasting anyway, which way are we going? A little bit of focus, we might end up in a good place, and a little bit of like
फिर वो लोग ने कंप्लेंट. देखें, रमज़ान की गलती नहीं है, गलती आप में, क्योंकि अगर आप जल्दी सो जाते हैं और आप सही उठ रहे हैं एंड यू आर हैविंग अ नाइस सहरी एंड देन यूजिंग मे बी ऑफिस से जाने से पहले थोड़ी एक्सरसाइज कर ली, फिर आप जाएं और वापस आएं, सो इट कुड एक्चुअली वर्क आउट बिकॉज
Ramzan is to refrain from temptation. Pakora is a temptation. I mean, whether you like it and you don't, it seems like food and it's fine and it's all halal and but it is a temptation. So if you're going to break your roza and then jump into the first temptation, right? Then we have a serious problem. Because there's a lot of people who will leave eating
temptation of going to bed right after Sehri, all of these
exactly stuff. Right? So you have to be disciplined and you have to take responsibility, and you can't blame society कि ये पूरा खानदान वाला कह रहा है मैं पकौड़ा खा लूँ, and खानदान वाला ये भी कहना शादी करने and like ये भी करने, are you doing all the right stuff?
वो तो नहीं करते.
Hopefully not, right? So you can't blame khandan and society. You have to in fact be the person who changes them. Be the person having the kebab at the table so that maybe your other auntie Khala Papo is looking at you.
Or your mummy or Abbu who are old age, और वो उनकी है वैसे भी उनको अच्छा खाना चाहिए. So be the catalyst of change.
Yes, be strength and not weakness. And that's all I guess.
No, great. So this Ramzan, let's promise to treat our body like a temple and eat well and take care of our body, sleep well, eat well, exercise,
reduce stress in your life.
Reduce stress.
That would be a great thing. And
exercise really helps with that.
Exercise really helps. Sleep really helps. Stress reduction.
Cool.
And work on positive things like your relationships. That really helps in reducing stress.
So eat good, sleep good, exercise good, be around good people. Be good. Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Nusrat, for coming.
Thank you.